It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when I received a call from my eldest brother, Ethan. He rarely called, so my heart skipped a beat when his name flashed on my phone. Our relationship had always been complicated, with years of misunderstandings and unspoken words between us. But today his voice sounded different, warmer, almost eager. "Hey, can you come over to the old cabin this weekend? It's been a while since we all got together." Ethan said the old cabin. It had been years since we had all gathered there. The cabin was nestled deep in the woods, a relic from our childhood, where my brothers and I spent countless summers. It was a place full of memories, both joyful and painful. "Who's we?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Me, you, and Alex. Just the three of us, like old times." Ethan replied, "Alex." The middle brother was the glue that held us together. He had always been the peacemaker, the one who tried to bridge the gap between Ethan and me. His voice, though absent from the call, seemed to resonate through Ethan's words. "I'll be there," I said, the words escaping before I could second-guess them. The week flew by, and soon, I was driving down the familiar winding road that led to the cabin. Memories flooded back as I navigated the turns, each bend in the road taking me closer to the past. By the time I arrived, dusk was settling in, casting long shadows across the landscape. Ethan and Alex were already there, waiting on the porch. Ethan stood tall and composed, his sharp features softened by a rare smile. Alex, with his easygoing demeanor, waved enthusiastically as I parked the car. Finally, Alex exclaimed, pulling me into a tight hug. "It feels like forever since we were all together." Ethan nodded in agreement, and for a moment the years melted away. It was as if we were kids again, ready to dive into another summer adventure. But the air was charged with something else, an undercurrent of tension that none of us wanted to acknowledge. We spent the evening reminiscing, laughing over old stories and sharing updates about our lives. It was almost too perfect. The kind of evening that felt like a prelude to something unexpected. And unexpected it was as the night deepened. The laughter began to wane, replaced by a contemplative silence. The flickering fire in the hearth cast shadows on the wooden walls, and the familiar creaks of the cabin settled around us. Like a well-worn blanket, Alex leaned back in his chair, his eyes reflecting the firelight. "You know, being here makes me think about that summer," he said, his voice quieter now. Almost hesitant, Ethan's expression darkened slightly. He knew exactly which summer Alex was referring to, and so did I. It was the summer when everything changed between us. The summer of the long-buried secret we had all tried to forget. "Maybe it's time we talked about it," Alex continued, glancing between Ethan and me. Ethan shifted uncomfortably in a seat, his jaw tightening. "What's the point, Alex?" "It was years ago, we were kids." "But it affected all of us, didn't it?" Alex pressed. "We've been carrying this around for too long." I felt the weight of his words settle in the room. That summer had been a turning point, a moment that defined the trajectory of our relationship. We had never spoken about it, not once, not even in passing. "You're talking about Sarah," I said, breaking the silence. Sarah had been our neighbor, the girl next door, who spent almost every waking moment with us during those summers. She was the fourth member of our little group, a whirlwind of energy and curiosity that often led us into adventures. And sometimes into trouble. Ethan's eyes met mine, a flicker of guilt crossing his face. "She was just a kid like us," he said, his voice low. "But she wasn't, not really," Alex countered. "She was different, and we all knew it." Sarah had always been mature for her age-wise, beyond her years in a way that made us both drawn to and wary of her. She had a way of seeing through us, understanding things that we couldn't put into words. That summer, she had discovered something about Ethan and me that changed everything. And instead of confronting it, we had pushed her away, pretending it never happened. It wasn't just her, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. It was us, what she saw. What we almost did, it was complicated. Alex finished for me. But it wasn't her fault, and it wasn't just you two. Ethan stood abruptly, pacing the length of the room. Why now, Alex? Why bring this up after all these years? Because we need to move on. Alex said we can't keep pretending it didn't happen. I looked at Ethan, seeing the conflict in his eyes. He was right, we were just kids. But that didn't make the weight of that summer any lighter. It was a ghost that haunted all three of us, even if we never spoke of it. Ethan stopped pacing and turned to face us, his shoulders tense. Fine, let's talk about it. But let's be honest, what happened back then? It was more than just Sarah. Alex nodded slowly. You're right, it wasn't just her. It was the three of us too. I felt a knot form in my stomach as memories of that summer surfaced. Clear and unrelenting, we'd all changed that year. But the changes had been most pronounced between Ethan and me. There was a closeness that bordered on something more, a connection that we never fully understood or acknowledged. Sarah had seen it. She had noticed the stolen glances, the moments of tension that flared between us, when we thought no one was looking. She had confronted us one day, her eyes full of concern and confusion. You too, she had said, pointing between Ethan and me. There's something different, something you're not telling me. We had laughed it off, brushing aside her words as childish imagination. But deep down, we knew she was right. There was something different, something we couldn't explain. And instead of facing it, we had let it fester, creating a rift that only grew wider with time. Ethan's voice pulled me back to the present. We were scared, he admitted. His voice softer now, scared of what it meant. Scared of what we felt, I nodded. My throat tight. We didn't know how to handle it, so we pushed each other away. And Sarah? She got caught in the middle. Alex sighed, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. We were all caught in the middle. We were trying to figure out who we were, what we meant to each other. It was messy and we made mistakes. We hurt her, Ethan said, his eyes reflecting the pain of the memory. We hurt each other. Silence settled over us again, heavy with unspoken regrets. It was true, we had hurt Sarah, and we had hurt ourselves in the process. We had been too young, too inexperienced to navigate the complexities of our feelings. But we survived, Alex said. Breaking the silence, we made it through, and now we have a chance to make things right. How, Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. How do we make it right after all these years? We start by acknowledging it, Alex said, by being honest with ourselves and with each other. It's the only way we can heal. Ethan and I exchanged a glance, a silent agreement passing between us. It was time to face the past, to confront the ghosts that had haunted us for so long. It wouldn't be easy, but it was necessary. The fire crackled softly in the heart as we sat in the cabin, the weight of the past finally out in the open. For the first time in years, there were no more secrets between us, no more unspoken truths. We had faced the past head on, and though it left us raw, it also brought a strange sense of relief. I wish we could apologize to Sarah, I said, breaking the silence. She deserved better from us. Alex nodded. Maybe it's not too late, we could try to find her. Explain everything. Ethan, who had been silent for a moment, spoke up. We should, but not just for her. For us too. We need to close this chapter and move on. The idea of reaching out to Sarah felt daunting. But it also felt right. It was the final step in a journey that had taken years to unfold. We had grown up changed, and now we were ready to face the consequences of our actions. Agreed, Alex said, his voice filled with determination. We'll find her together. Ethan and I nodded, the bond between us stronger than it had been in years. We were no longer the confused kids we once were. We were adults ready to take responsibility for our past. The night wore on and we talked about everything. The memories, the regrets, the lessons learned. It was a cathartic experience. One that brought us closer than we had ever been. By the time the first rays of dawn broke through the cabin windows, we were exhausted but at peace. As we prepared to leave the cabin, Ethan placed a hand on my shoulder. "Thank you," he said, his voice sincere for being here. For talking. I smiled, the tension between us finally lifted. "We're in this together, remember?" Alex joined us, wrapping his arms around both of us. "Always," he said, his voice filled with warmth. We left the cabin that morning, leaving behind the ghosts of our past. But we carried with us the strength of our bond, a renewed commitment to each other and to the future. And as we drove away, I knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter, one where we could finally be free,